Good morning everyone, it's early here, but we're diving into something profound today, where we explore scripture with scholarly rigor and a passion for truth. Today we're examining Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14, why Matthew used virgin instead of Almah, and how this reveals the prophecy's fulfillment in Jesus. Here's my position: Almah isn't just a young woman. The Torah defines it as a young beautiful virgin, a distinct category with three specific characteristics. Matthew's use of virgin emphasizes that Mary's virginity was the key to fulfilling this messianic prophecy. Let's unpack this step by step. The Torah is more than a collection of stories. It's a judicial document like a constitution defining terms for God's people. Judges in ancient Israel used it to make legal decisions, especially about marriage and family. But it's also prophetic, pointing to the Messiah. Moses said in Deuteronomy chapter 18 verses 15 to 18, "The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among you." This is a messianic promise. And in Numbers chapter 24 verse 17, we see a star and scepter rising from Israel, another sign of messianic rule. The Torah's authority is both legal and prophetic, a shadow of things to come, fulfilled in the Messiah. Let's look at Genesis chapter 24, where Abraham's servant, the governor of his house, seeks a wife for Isaac. This passage defines Almah. In Genesis chapter 24 verse 12, the servant prays, asking God to show kindness by sending the right woman. He doesn't specify a term yet, but in verse 14 he asks for a na'ara, a young woman, to offer him water and water his camels. In Genesis chapter 24 verse 16, Rebekah is described as every attractive, beautiful and a Betulah whom no man had known, a virgin. In Genesis chapter 24 verse 42, when recounting his prayer, the servant says he stood by the spring and prayed for success. Then in verse 43 he specifies, "Let the Almah who comes out to draw water," translated in some contexts as virgin. This distinction is key. Na'ara means young woman, but Almah is more specific. It's a young, beautiful virgin. The servant's prayer and recounting show that Almah includes virginity, aligning with the Torah's judicial definition. This definition is consistent in Song of Songs. In Song of Songs chapter 4 verses 12 to 15, the beloved is, "A garden locked is my sister, my bride, a spring locked, a fountain sealed." She's young, virginal and beautiful, sealed and exquisite. In Song of Songs chapter 6 verses 8 to 9, there are 60 queens and 80 concubines, and Almah without number, my dove, my perfect one, is the only one. The beloved is distinguished from countless Almah as unique, a dove, symbolizing purity, beauty and youth. These passages reinforce that Almah consistently means a young beautiful virgin across scripture. Now Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14, "Behold, the Almah shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel." In its immediate context, this was a sign for King Ahaz. But Emmanuel, God with us, is explicitly messianic. The Torah's definition of Almah informs this prophecy. The contemporary sign, a natural birth, wasn't enough. The prophets, expecting the one like Moses, looked for a greater fulfillment. The Messiah's birth had to be miraculous, a virgin birth, because Almah is a young, beautiful virgin. This prophecy is explicitly messianic in the Hebrew text. Matthew understood this. In Matthew chapter 1 verse 23, he quotes Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14 using Parthenos, virgin, instead of Almah. Why? Theological precision. Matthew's choice of virgin emphasizes Mary's virginity as the defining trait. She could have been young and beautiful, but her virginity made her the Almah Isaiah spoke of. This highlights the miraculous nature of Jesus' birth. Septuagint tradition. The Septuagint, a Jewish translation, used Parthenos for Almah. Matthew drew on this, reflecting the Torah's definition and an established understanding. Messianic necessity, the virgin birth was essential to show Jesus as Emmanuel, God with us. Matthew's use of virgin underscores this divine fulfillment. This wasn't a casual translation, it was a deliberate theological statement. Let's address some misunderstandings. Some say Almah just means young woman. But the Torah uses na'ara for that, as in Genesis chapter 24 verse 14. Almah, as in verse 43, is specific, a young, beautiful virgin. Others claim Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14 was only about Ahaz's time. But this ignores the Torah's prophetic nature and the explicit messianic expectation in the text. Finally, some argue Matthew invented the virgin birth. Not true. He drew on the Septuagint, reflecting the Torah's definition of Almah as a virgin, with Mary's virginity as the key. The truth is clear. Matthew's use of virgin was intentional, rooted in the Torah and prophecy. The Torah's definition of Almah as a young, beautiful virgin and the prophet's expectation of the one like Moses point to the Messiah. Matthew's use of virgin instead of Almah highlights Mary's virginity as the defining trait, fulfilling Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14 perfectly in Jesus. This is the power of Scripture. It reveals God's plan across history. Thanks for joining me on this journey. If this video blessed you, like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Until next time, keep seeking truth.